From Daily Trust News Center, this is News Hour.
Welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. We do apologize for starting the news a bit late. In the headlines, Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi begins nationwide campaign with Nasarawa rally, promises to solve Nigeria's flood problem. CBN replies Finance Minister on Naira notes redesign, insists due process was followed. Nigeria police debunk claims of planted bombs across Abuja as Julius Berger shuts down operations. And on the foreign scene, 2 explosions rock Somalia's capital, killing at least 30. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I am Medina Dauda Nadabo. The 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has flagged off his campaign in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital, amid a large crowd of supporters. Obi promised to reform the country if elected as the next president. Abubakar Abdullahi sent in the report as presented from our studio.
The Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi landed at the Government Science Secondary School football field at exactly 2:15 p.m. and was received by his running mate and other stakeholders, including some candidates on the platform of the party. Presenting the flag of the party to the candidate, the national chairman of the party, Julius Abure, said the party is on the verge of delivering Nigeria because citizens have aligned themselves with it due to its policies and the failure of the 2 political parties to rule the country from 1999 till date.
Labour Party is the party of the people. Labour Party is the party that will deliver Nigeria from hunger, from poverty, from unemployment. It is only Labour Party that has the answer.
The party's presidential flag bearer said he was in the race to ensure that Nigeria works for all, adding that if elected, he would birth a Nigeria that every Nigerian would be proud of.
Let me assure you, the government of Peter Obi and Daddy Baba Ahmed will change Nigeria for good. We will change Nigeria for good. In Nasarawa, if we come into government, I assure you, farmers will go back to farm.
He said he and his running mate, Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, are energetic and ready for the presidency job and called on Nigerians to channel their support to their ticket. Other speakers described the party and the candidate as a great opportunity for Nigerians to choose between good and bad leaders during the upcoming 2023 general elections.
Yourself to ever play on the politics of religion and ethnicity.
2023 election is an election for survival. Nigeria is at the brink and we do not want it to go down. We are not only voting for ourselves, we are also voting for our children, our grandchildren, and the generation yet unborn.
In 2023, I will come here and I will rejoice with the governor of Labour Party in this town. But the youth of Nasarawa State, they will not disappoint you. 2023.
Candidates seeking different positions under the platform of the party within and outside North Central states, party stakeholders, members and well-wishers were in attendance at the Labour Party presidential candidate campaign flagged off in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital.
Following a frenzy generated by security reports of an imminent terrorist attack on Nigeria's capital, Abuja, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, on Friday held a crucial meeting with officials of the United States State Department. Those familiar with what was discussed at the meeting said it focused primarily on enhancing security and other mutually beneficial cooperation between Nigeria and the U.S. Apart from security, other issues discussed include the upcoming 2023 general elections as well as democracy. Atiku, who was accompanied by key officials of his campaign team, met with the Assistant Secretary, State Department, Bureau of African Affairs, Molly Fee. Also, in a press statement signed by Atiku's media advisor, Paul Ibe, on Saturday, said the Atiku team, with the focus of discussions, was on the critical need to seek collaborative solutions to our local issues on democracy. Atiku, who was accompanied by key officials of his campaign team, met with the Assistant Secretary, State Department, Bureau of Africa Affairs. National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Iyorchia Ayu, has again said those governors calling for his removal are only wasting their time, saying none of them can sack him from office. Ayu stated this on Friday while addressing supporters who welcomed him to Boku, the headquarters of Tivland, on Friday. The PDP chairman rather said that he has enormous powers to stop any candidate from contesting election on the platform of his party, but he decided to remain silent all along and do the needful to avoid any crack in the party. Recalled that since the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike lost the party's presidential primary election, he and 4 other PDP governors from Oyo, Abia, Enugu, and Benue states have repeatedly called for the resignation of Iyorchia Ayu as the party chairman as the only solution to the lingering crisis in the party. The Northwest Vice Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Salihu Lukman, says the party in the zone has reconciled many aggrieved members ahead of the 2023 general elections. He also admitted that there are still others who have made up their minds against any reconciliation. Speaking in a press conference in Kaduna, the APC chieftain noted that there are indicators that the party is waxing stronger and making progress in spite of disagreements in some states in the zone.
Many of the aspirants, including one who actually contested the primary, are now with the candidate, and they are part of the campaign council. Of course, one aspirant is in court, you know, and those are the kind of challenges I was telling you. Of course, we have cases like the case in Katsina, where one of the aspirants has left the party. Of course, we understand very well there are people who, once mindset is formed, you can't change their mindset. We can't force people to remain in the party if they are mind. And part of the challenge, and this is why as a party we believe we will work hard to achieve that, we have to elevate the business of politics to the level whereby people who contest election are able to accept the result of the election even when they don't win it.
The Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP, has lauded the Federal High Court, Umuahia, presided over by Justice Evelyn Anya-Dike, for the judgment it delivered against the extraordinary rendition of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, on 26 October 2022. The CUP, in a statement by its spokesman Ikenga Imo Ogochinyere, said the well-considered judgment is positive proof that, despite the systemic dysfunctions inherent in the polity, there is hope that the judiciary remains capable of fighting any wrong, whether done by government or individuals. CUP further called on the federal government to promptly enforce the judgment, given that it is undoubtedly a validation of the ones previously delivered by the High Court of Abia State and the Court of Appeal, as well as the recent ones issued from the United Nations, all concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, on Friday said the Central Bank of Nigeria did not consult her ministry before taking the decision to redesign Naira notes by December. She made the disclosure during the budget debate of the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning in Abuja. The minister said even though one of the reasons for the decision is to manage inflation, consequences are sure to follow. She also said she was not aware if the monetary authorities have looked closely at the consequences and how they will mitigate them. Senator Bamidele had in his submission told the finance minister that barely 2 days after announcement of the policy by CBN, the negative impact of the policy on the naira against the dollar is already being felt.
More than a few Nigerians have been concerned about the ongoing rising in the value of the dollar as against our naira, weakening the purchasing power of Nigerians who don't have any corresponding increase in their income, be it salary or whatever it is that they are doing. Now, this policy of the CBN, upon its announcement, and the desire of those who actually had this naira stacked in their domain, now trying to quickly buy dollar to ensure that they are still able to hold on to their money. Part of the immediate effect on that is that dollar is going up. In the black market, we're told as of yesterday, dollar was exchanging for 788 naira to $1.
That really you should call the monetary authorities because they're the competent authority to do this. We were not consulted. It was an announcement that we heard. And I've seen,
you too, you just saw the press release like every other body.
Part of the reasons that was advocated is that's one of the ways to mop up liquidity to manage inflation. But there are also consequences that we're also looking at what would the consequences be. There will be some benefits, but there will be some challenges. And I don't know whether the monetary authorities have actually looked very closely as what the consequences are and then how they can be mitigated. So I still advise that you have that discussion with the monetary authorities.
Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says it followed due process in its ongoing process to redesign the 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1,000 naira banknotes. The spokesman for the CBN, Osita Nwanisobi, made this known on Friday night in response to the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, who said her ministry was not carried along by the Apex Bank. Nwanisobi expressed surprise at the minister's claim, stressing that the CBN remains a very thorough institution that follows due process in its policy actions. According to Nwanisobi, the management of the CBN, in line with the provisions of Section 2B, Section 18A, and Section 19AB of the CBN Act 2007, had duly sought and obtained the approval of President Muhammadu Buhari in writing to redesign, produce, release, and circulate new banknotes. On the timing of the redesign project, Nwanisobi explained that the CBN had even tarried for too long, considering that it had to wait 20 years to carry out a redesign, whereas the standard practice globally was for central banks to redesign, produce, and circulate new legal tender every 5 to 8 years. The Nigeria police have refuted the speculation that bombs have been buried across Abuja. Force Public Relations Officer Muyiwa Adejobi stated this in a statement on Saturday. The FPRO noted that it was disheartening that some persons were spreading false information after the terror alert by the United States, the United Kingdom, and others. Adejobi said among the individuals making the claim are presumed peace ambassadors and patriotic agents of national unity in Nigeria. He said a broadcast of fearful rumors to further create more panic in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, would do the country no good. Adejobi insisted Abuja is safe and there is no imminent threat, nor is the FCT saturated with bombs as speculated. The FCT command of Nigeria Police had advised residents to remain calm and not go into panic mode following the recent terror alerts, with the recent trends of security alerts in the FCT. The advice came on the sidelines of the 20th anniversary of patriotism celebrated by the Cadet Inspection Corps 36 set of 2002 of the police. Newell Sampson has more.
Beyond the fanfare, the police authorities assured residents of the nation's capital territory that everything was under control and urged them to go about the daily routine without fear of the unknown.
The Inspector General of Police has already made it clear that no imminent threat, that Abuja is safe. So everybody should go to his lawful business.
For the cadets and other civilians working with the police to ensure the security of lives and property, a pat on the back was not out of place, even as they were admonished not to relent.
Being a police officer is a privilege, and it's something that whoever has the opportunity should give glory to Almighty God. Because, like we always say, the police is a jack of all trades and master of all. We should know that security is everybody's business. We must support the police, we must strengthen the government, we must make demand from the government to give the police what they deserve. I keep telling people, the only way to know a developed nation is to check their policing. If the police is standard, it means the country is developed.
The police is doing its best under the leadership of IGP Asman Alkali, and everything that needed to be done to make the country safe and secure is putting everything in place. And by God's grace, and we are sure with time, everything will be okay with Nigeria.
Meanwhile, there was a roadwork from the force headquarters to signal the commencement of the program. Newell Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The United States on Friday said it was evacuating families out of Abuja due to a security threat, but not diplomats, clarifying an earlier statement. A State Department statement Thursday said the United States had ordered the departure of families as well as non-emergency personnel from Abuja, stepping up precautions after an earlier warning to U.S. citizens. But it clarified on Friday that the order to leave applied only to family members, adding that non-essential workers were being given the choice but were not required to depart. Details of the threat have not been released, but Nigeria has been on high alert since Sunday after the United States and several other Western nations raised their travel alerts. Construction giants Julius Berger on Saturday shut down their operations in Abuja and its environs following the US and UK advisory of an imminent terror attack in the federal capital city. Following this, Julius Berger decided to shut down till further notice. In a statement by the company's managing director and corporate security manager, Lars Bichter and Paul Nielsen, the company advised its staff to avoid public premises during the weekend. The company reiterated its determination to move to other JBN work or residential locations throughout the weekend, as the safety of its workers is important. As part of measures to tackle the challenges of insecurity, Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule has convened an expanded Security Council meeting to take appropriate steps in the wake of a terror alert recently issued by the United States and the United Kingdom. The expanded security meeting, which had in attendance members of the State Security Council, selected local government chairmen and traditional rulers, was held at the Government House, Lafia. Governor Sule expressed worry about the resurgence of communal and former harder clashes across parts of the state. He explained that the meeting aimed to take drastic steps in the wake of the terror alerts, particularly since Nasarawa State shared the same border with the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, where it was alleged that terrorists may launch attacks on public places like government buildings, markets, and prayer grounds. One person has been confirmed dead, while an unspecified number of people were injured when a Maulud procession turned violent in Chanchaga community of Minna, the Niger State capital. The incident, according to Daily Trust, happened on Saturday when some youths confronted each other with cutlasses and other dangerous weapons during the procession. When contacted, the Niger State Police Command's Public Relations Officer, DSP Wasiu Abiodun, confirmed the incident. Abiodun said 4 persons were seriously injured during the attack and were taken to IBB Specialist Hospital for treatment, while 1 person was later confirmed dead. He said police patrol teams were drafted to the scene and 6 suspects had been apprehended with dangerous weapons, while efforts were still ongoing to arrest other fleeing members of the miscreants. No fewer than 78 people were killed in road crashes in Osun State between January and September 2022. The Osun Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, Paul Okwe, disclosed this during the flag-off of the 2022 Ember Month campaign with the theme, Avoid Speeding, Overloading, and Unsafe Tires to Arrive Alive. Hamid Oyegbade files the report.
The sector commander said at least 1,894 people were involved in 280 road traffic crashes in Osun State, in which 78 died, while 898 were injured. He noted that most of the crashes occurred on the Gbọ̀ngán-Ìbàdàn, Ilesha-Ife, and Ìpẹ̀tù-Àkúrẹ́ roads that connect the southern and northern parts of the country together. The situation, he said, calls for deliberate efforts to reduce road traffic crashes and prevent avoidable deaths on the roads. He appealed to motorists to comply with road traffic regulations always.
On the road between Asajire Bridge and Owena, which is where we have the major traffic infractions. And the traffic infractions I've had there are people that have traveled from Lagos, from other states, from either the north or the south. And that is the major link road between the north and the south. And that is where these traffic crashes occur. Thank God, with our commanders and their men on that stretch of the road, we have 4 units commands there and 1 outpost. They have been doing their best.
The secretary of the Osun State chapter of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Ismaila Oshundiya, said NURTW is educating its members to shun actions that could lead to road traffic crashes.
We have been trying to sensitize our members. It is not only December month, it's every now and then. Whenever we are having our state meeting, we do have it in a day, especially first week of the month. Of every month.
A member of the National Youth Service Corps, Samuel Uluwatosin, said corps members are also sensitizing traders and hawkers on the dangers of selling on the roads as a way of reducing accidents involving hawkers.
We talk to the marketers because we feel they are one of the road users too that cause a road accident. So them walking on the road, you know, it's a bad idea. So we enlighten them on how to walk or move on the road.
Stakeholders believed that if all road users remain law-abiding and safety-conscious, fatalities on the roads will be drastically reduced. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. How traditional musicians, drummers are fading. Stay with us.
That's great.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV. A recap of our top stories. Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi begins nationwide campaign with Nasarawa rally, promises to solve Nigeria's flood problem. And CBN replies Finance Minister on Naira notes redesign, insists due process was followed. Moving to other stories. The declining state of hospital infrastructure and the attendant inability to manage accidents and emergency cases is taking a toll on the health of Nigerians. In Makurdi, the Benue State capital, Trust TV spoke to some residents who shared their experiences in some health facilities. The report.
Hospitals in Makurdi, according to some residents, are gradually becoming death traps as against their intended purpose of saving lives. According to a doctor at the Benue State University Teaching Hospital, who spoke to Trust TV off camera, neither the facilities nor personnel are enough to handle accident and emergency cases. Residents corroborate his position as they share their experiences.
So when they brought her, took her to the accident and emergency ward, which was the first point of call for emergency cases. So they had to, we came there around 10 a.m. in the morning. I even had to call someone who made calls to a nurse in the hospital there who was not on duty but connected us to his colleague who now came in to help us. But even at that, we came in by 10 a.m. in the morning, and before they could attend to her, assign a bed to her, we stayed there till 9 p.m.
Orio Chapa is a victim. He says she almost died because of hospital bureaucracy as she recounted her experience in tears.
I have fireborn. When I went there, I was shaking. I don't even know myself because the thing happened between 8-7. Then I rushed me to the hospital. When we reach there, now they are talking of a card. Me, I don't know myself. The only thing I had, my sister was calling my name, Ori, what are you trying to do, Ori? I don't even want to answer the call. And I hear my name from far, and I say, yeah, it's then that their eye opened, then they now rushed me to the inside to attend to me proper.
Many of the residents said the best option is to go to private hospitals for emergency services, but however decry the cost, which is not pocket-friendly for many families.
I have a neighbor that took his son to government hospital because the wife was saying there is no money, they have to rush there to that place. When the boy nearly died, it was a high fever, say too much of mosquito. So they now rushed the boy to hospital. It was the man, nobody attend to the boy. That is the boy. The father of the boy now came, was shouting in the hospital. So the temperature was going high. I don't know what happened. That somebody now came and rushed, the boy was going down. Somebody now came and rushed the boy to the ward. Children.
The need to check the activities of hospitals is paramount due to the declining standards of hospital infrastructure and personnel, especially when compared to the doctor-to-patient ratio in the country.
Old students of the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, have charged the Nigerian government to urgently address what they termed the frequent and frightening migration of scholars to greener pastures. The medical practitioners who gave the advice during a lecture also urged the government to see medicine as a business by providing alternative investment outflow, which, according to them, would increase quality of research and ensure more well-trained human capital teachers. The old students used the occasion to support the University College Hospital in the area of medical research and also supported faculty staff where the younger generation can be groomed to measure up with their counterparts the world over.
So we need to have people change their mindset and appreciate the value of putting money aside for your own health, because nobody can predict who can be sick tomorrow. So while I'll advise that government should try and enforce the law, I think we should also encourage the citizens to be responsive and learn to make their contributions for health insurance.
We also find that many of our hospitals are not run efficiently or in a world standard manner. So the intention of my lecture was to trigger the interest of the training ground, the medical college, the College of Medicine, to encourage the inclusion of business practices in the training.
As they transit to the next phase of their life, they should remember to continue to serve humanity. And secondly, to remember their alma mater, College of Medicine, University of Ibadan. To remember them in the sense that they must continue to contribute to the growth of the College of Medicine, because the Yoruba say, Odo to ba gbagbe orisun e, ko ma gbe ni. In other words, the river must never forget its source.
A 19-year-old philanthropist, Comfort Yakubu, has distributed sanitary pads to over 300 female students of the Mariam Babangida Girls Science College, Minna, Niger State, as part of her awareness campaign on the importance of menstrual hygiene. Yakubu, a student of microbiology at the Federal University of Technology, Minna, said she had gone around public female secondary schools, including Government Girls Secondary School, Old Airport Road, Minna, and Government Day Secondary School, Diko, and realized the difficulties girls from poor homes go through to maintain menstrual hygiene, revealing that some girls use rags, tissue papers, and other unhygienic materials during their monthly periods. The awareness campaign was tagged Becoming Her. Yakubu said she was motivated into supporting girls with sanitary pads, having come from a humble background and knowing what it takes to afford sanitary pads. She called on well-to-do Nigerians to assist the less privileged girls with sanitary pads to enable them maintain a hygienic life during menstruation.
The motive behind this is for me to educate the young girls on how to take care of themselves and how they can become better in society. I have been exposed to this knowledge and I have taken it upon myself to also pass on the knowledge to them. For you to become her and for you to become the woman that you desire yourself to be, you have to put in your best and always be the better version of yourself and put in so much effort in everything that you do. So don't relent academically and don't relent in your social life.
63 persons have been arrested over alleged violation of monthly environmental sanitation exercise in Nasarawa State. State Chief Prosecuting Officer on the violators of environmental sanitation, Mohammed Abubakar, made this known while addressing journalists shortly after the exercise in Lafia. He said the violators, most of them motorists, were arrested in Lafia, Nasarawa, Egon, and Karu. The Permanent Secretary in the State Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources, Aliu Agwai, said the ministry has observed that shops were built on drainages at the Lafia New Market and ordered for their demolition within 1 week or face sanction. The two environmental officers appreciated the level of compliance with the exercise and promised continued enlightenment to enable more people to embrace the exercise.
There are about 20 defaulters, and they appear before the court. No, just in Lafia, and that shows the level of compliance. People are complied. People are now key in to make the environment clean. So those 20 is only in Lafia, but in Nasarawa Egon, I called them. They told me that there are about 25 people, and those ones are motorists, most especially. In Akwanga, they said there are 18 people, and those ones are motorists again. So I think.
Bus drivers in Lagos have protested against alleged extortion by members of the Lagos State Tax and Management Committee. The drivers, under the aegis of Joint Drivers Welfare Association of Nigeria, have threatened to embark on a 7-day protest and boycott of services from October 31, 2022, over the alleged extortion. Speaking at the press conference held in Lagos, the legal advisor to the Joint Drivers Welfare Association of Nigeria, Ayo Ademilui, condemned the creation of the Lagos State Tax and Management Committee, saying there's no enabling law backing the creation. The General Secretary of the Joint Drivers Welfare Association of Nigeria, Feyisayo Ajimatanrareje, called on the government to come to their aid and call their people to order.
Of course, Lagos State government has the power to create any committee as early as 3 a.m. to look for our daily bread. But at the end of the day, when we close, we later discover that the money that remains in our purse is just a little one that won't be able to take care of our family. Talking of the repairing of the vehicle. That is why we now decide that, okay, what are we going to do? Let us take the necessary step that we need to take to call on the government to call these people to order so that we will be able to live a normal life that other people are living.
University students across the nation have expressed mixed feelings over the extended academic session as a result of the 8-month strike by Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. At the University of Maiduguri, both staff and students have resumed to complete the remaining 2021/2022 academic session. Beatrice Kuruti had a chat with some of the undergraduates on their experiences during the strike. The report.
It is a busy day for this set of students on campus. The institution just resumed from an 8-month-old ASU strike, and lectures have already started in some departments in the university. Some of the students looked delighted back in school again, but lamented the wasted months in the academic calendar, which made some of the students to lose confidence in the education system and the zeal to return back to campus.
Back to school. So, it was not funny because it happened at the wrong time to me, I might say, because let me say most depends on the kind of salary earners.
This 9 months is almost 1 semester, 2 semesters. So if there is no strike, we have been in final year today now. That's why.
Actually, I didn't go any visitation. I stayed in this town. And I thank God I learned graphics designing. So I went into graphics designing, and then I was like designing it. And then started like designing for people too. And then I get paid. I didn't want to like stay like idle.
I attended cooking classes, I tried new things, watching movies and reading books just a little, just to while away time.
The students pray that the face-off between the federal government and ASU will be completely resolved to avoid future strikes, noting that reoccurrence disrupts plans and future ambitions.
Yes, I'm prepared to marry. Before, I'm thinking that I will marry after I finish my degree. But now it is not possible because I don't know when to finish. This strike may even happen in the future. So I have no guarantee. That's why I will do my marriage.
As a guy like this now, in the country that we are like this now, somebody will want to like, okay, I need to like finish school, so year. I need to start like making money, so year, so that I will like help my family out. Basically, I think we depend on Oya based on what we've been hearing and then like this. Since we depend on Oya and then they have the money, so I think they should utilize the money that they are having in that Oya to invest into education. Because if they don't invest into this education, like you might just like end up training up quacks.
Oh God. We will go and beg ASU, please, and beg federal government too. They should please try and prioritize education, because everybody, since I was growing, they're like, what the future. And then because everybody needs us. Like now, okay, for instance, now this person studying engineering, this person studying medicine. We need people to build our houses.
At the moment, the students are preparing for their continuous assessment, which will commence next week, and thereafter write examinations which is scheduled to begin in early November. The rush is to complete uncovered courses before the next semester sets in.
Staff of the Taraba State House of Assembly have given the state governor, Darius Ishaku, a 7-day ultimatum to clear their outstanding 7 years allowances or face an indefinite strike action. The staff under the umbrella of the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, PASAN, Taraba State, in a letter dated October 26, 2022, and signed by the chairman, Ibrahim Bala Yusuf, and secretary, Yahuda Atwen, also threatened a showdown before embarking on an indefinite strike if the state government refuses to comply with their rightful demands. The staff, in their striking alert letter to the governor, which was made available to journalists on Friday in Jalingo, explained that the 7-day ultimatum followed the expiration of the 21-day ultimatum issued to the leadership of the Taraba State House of Assembly, which produced no better result on issues that border on the outfit allowance of the staff of the Assembly for 7 years. Youths have been advised to elect leaders with proven integrity and capacity to transform the country to glory. Respondents at the Northeast Community Peace Talk, organized by Vote Not Fight, a non-governmental organization, said the 2023 general election is one of the elections Nigerians must not joke with. Salis Lawan reports that one of the objectives of the Community Peace Talk was to secure the commitment of political party candidates and youth leaders to compliance with non-violent campaigning and peaceful conduct of the 2023 general elections. The report.
At the Community Peace Talk, youth and women were admonished to desist from violence and political thuggery and instead urged to champion cause of their community development by electing good leaders.
I've trained all our staff on how to go ahead on educating people on this general election, because there are a lot of changes in the election, a lot of changes, and we expect to make sure that the election, we have election free and fair election. And how can we do it? We must educate some people because there exists a situation where you are having your card but you can be denied to vote. So in that respect, if he is not aware, he don't know why they don't allow him to vote. He must create problem.
I'm calling on our youth that they not allow themselves to be used as political thuggery, we can call them. That is my first word, what I will call our youth to be pleased, listen to us with their fathers. Let them not allow themselves to be used by this politician.
One of the critical aspects of the Community Peace Talk was to influence the adoption of the National Youth Agenda by political parties and their candidates across various offices in the northeastern state, as well as to ensure that the Vote Not Fight goals are achieved.
We've created a lot of advocacy to stakeholders within the state, and I think about 75% of acceptance I've seen from the stakeholders. And then as for the youths, we've seen a lot of willingness to change from whatever they thought was right and that has to do with political thuggery to the new way of just participating in politics without having to go around destroying lives and property just to impress any political candidate.
The purpose of this very particular program is to ensure there is free and fair election. Anything that will trigger election violence, we will try to see how we can sensitize youth and see how that thing can be coped up.
The goal here is to increase youth voter turnout during the 2023 general elections through peer-to-peer youth awareness, creation and sensitization. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
Music is described as a combination of vocal or instrumental sounds or tones in varying melody, harmony, rhythm, and timbre to form structurally complete and emotionally expressive compositions. Now, do you listen to music? In this special report, Salihu Lawan takes a look at traditional musicians' lives, contribution to the sustenance of peace, and their challenges in modern Nigeria. His report.
These traditional musicians performed mainly for royalties at an enclosed location called palace in the olden days. But today, in modern Nigeria, they are generally perceived as beggars by those who do not understand the importance of the group in the society in which they reside. However, these traditional musicians said they are aware of their current subordinate status in the society despite all their contribution.
While considered as beggars in some societies, the rivalry between us is sometimes alarming. One sees the other as a threat and moves to do everything possible to hinder the performance of the other group in order to humiliate it. A very skillful musician may suddenly become dull at performance just because someone has played a prank on him by use of charms.
Our job requires talent. Someone has to be very skillful on doing this job. For example, as a leader, sometimes I manipulate the rhythm of the song without prior preparation just to get at what I want. It could be circle of friends, a traditional title holder. Some think we're singing abusive songs. But no, we are not. We are just sending messages.
This realization is sometimes evident in their performance as they often resist discrimination by singing songs to protest their marginalization.
Banga, Jauji,
We are real traditional musicians. Before, we don't sing to anybody but royalties. Modernization and some changes even at the traditional institution made us to become what we are now. Things are not like before. We don't command respect as we used to in the olden days. Besides, most of us are in other businesses, as the occupation is no longer paying like before.
We are not just singing, we accompany our songs with dancing. Most of us have sonorous voices and very good memory of local histories, which we transmit in oral form at performance. In this era, we know our limitations, and that's why we restricted ourselves to the opportunity available.
As significant as they are in the society, yet no specific institutionalized arrangement is made by the government to secure the future for them. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
Beautiful music. Let's join Chiamaka Nwa for now for business news.
British Airways is changing its London to Abuja flight schedule from October 30th to November 7th. In a circular on Saturday, the airline stated that the reason for the change is as a result of operational constraint. However, sources say the development is not unconnected to the ongoing security concerns in the country's capital. There were reports on Friday that British Airways flight from London Heathrow to Abuja on Thursday was diverted to Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos over security concerns at the country's capital. The airline also cancelled its flight, which was expected to arrive in Abuja on Saturday morning. The United Kingdom government had earlier advised its nationals to stay clear of Abuja due to potential terrorist attacks. And finally in stock, a total turnover of 598.817 million shares worth 14.234 billion naira in 15,000 859 deals was traded this week by investors on the floor of the exchange. The financial services industry, measured by volume, led the activity chart with 398.264 million shares valued at 2.219 billion naira traded in 8,247 deals, thus contributing 66.51% and 15.59% to the total equity turnover, volume and value respectively. The NGX All-Share Index and market capitalization depreciated by 1.09% to close the week at 43,912.64 points and 23.918 trillion naira respectively. Similarly, all other indices finished lower with the exception of NGX Main Board, NGX Banking, NGX Merry Value and NGX Industrial Indices, which appreciated by 0.83%, 0.07%, 1.21% and 0.34% respectively, while the NGX Awesome and NGX Growth Indices closed flat. 29 equities appreciated in price during the week. 31 equities depreciated, while 97 equities remained unchanged. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
We now bring you news on the foreign scene. 2 car bombs exploded Saturday at a busy junction in Somalia's capital near key government offices, leaving scores of civilian casualties, including children. National Police said one hospital worker counted at least 30 bodies. The attack in Mogadishu occurred on a day when the president, prime minister, and other senior officials were meeting to discuss combating violent extremism, especially by the Al-Qaeda-affiliated Al-Shabaab group that often targets the capital. It also came 5 years after another massive blast in the exact same location killed over 500 people. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. Al-Shabaab rarely claims attacks with large numbers of civilians killed, as in the 2017 blast. But Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Bari blamed Al-Shabaab by name. An Associated Press journalist at the scene said the second blast occurred in front of a busy restaurant during lunchtime. Tens of thousands of people in colorful regalia gathered at a huge soccer stadium in the coastal city of Durban on Saturday to celebrate the official coronation of South Africa's Zulu king. President Cyril Ramaphosa was to hand over the certificate to formally recognize the 48-year-old new ruler of the country's richest and most influential traditional monarchy. Misuzulu Zulu ascended the throne once held by his late father, Godwill Zwelithini, who died in March 2021 after a diabetes-related illness. The crowning, which is the first South Africa has witnessed in more than half a century, comes after a year of bitter feuding over the royal succession that has spilled into the courts. Although the title of king does not bestow executive power, the monarchs wield great moral influence over more than 11 million Zulus, who make up nearly a fifth of South Africa's population. In sports news, the Olympic Eagles moved into the final qualifying round of the 2023 Africa Under-23 Cup of Nations after edging out Tanzania 2-0 in the Lekon Salami Stadium at Damasinga, Ibadan, on Saturday. Salisu Yusuf's side sailed through 3-1 on aggregate. Both teams failed to register a goal in the first half. Oguniyi Oluwatimileyin Abiodun opened the scoring for Nigeria a minute before the hour mark from a superb free kick. Captain Success Makanjola doubled the lead from the penalty spot in the 67th minute. The Eagles will face Guinea in the final qualifying round. Kelechi Iheanacho was unable to rescue Leicester City from the bench on Saturday as Kevin De Bruyne fired Manchester City to the top of the Premier League. The Belgian sublime free kick sealed a 1-0 win against their lowly opponents. Pep Guardiola's side were without Erling Haaland at the King Power Stadium after the Norwegian failed to recover from an ankle injury. But De Bruyne ensured the prolific striker wasn't missed by the champions as he netted with a superb set piece in the second half. City's first away win in their last 4 games moved them 1 point above second-place Arsenal, who host Nottingham Forest on Sunday. With that, we've come to the end of Trust TV News Hour. Don't forget to join us across all our media platforms. I am Medina Dauda Nadabu, thanking you for being with us. Do have a great weekend ahead.